Not really a restoration, just a repair. Let me show you what I mean. I have here a chair. It's a chair from a friend. It's old, but I can't really tell. I can't date it. I have not been able to date it. I see handwork on the splat, but nowhere else. Anyway, this needs a repair. Um, and it had some repairs done in the past that were done with epoxy, and I can't break the epoxy loose. What I mean is, I can't take the chair apart to do the kind of repair I'd like to do. So we're going to wing it a little bit. Now, there's a piece of tape here. Let me demonstrate where this chair has been and where I need to take it. What this tape indicates is a diagonal hole that was drilled in through this part of the chair and into this back plate here to stabilize this piece right here. You can't see it in camera. I'll do a close-up shot and put it on screen. But this crack right here actually goes through the entire leg and back piece across the grain. So after I dug out the restoration wax that was in here, yeah, that's a product, a thing, and stuck that in there, you see the angle it's at. Well, it goes through here. It doesn't go through here at all. It just goes through here. But what it did, it gave this piece here a pivot point to move back and forth and get weak. So what am I going to do? Let me show you. You can actually see the crack in it, the break in it right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mill a 3/8 inch dado in here, about 4.5 inches long, into which I'm going to put a maple spline with, again, epoxy. I mean, it's, for what I'm doing here, it really fits. So I'll put a maple spline in here, which will bind these two pieces together with a nice strong piece of wood. The collar I'm going to use on the router is this 5/8 collar and a 3/8 inch bit. And I've got the start of the jig right here. This will sit on here somehow. The router will go back and forth here, like so, and down into the wood. And that will create my dado into which the spline will go. And once that's cured, this should be locked up pretty stable at that point. Let me show you a little interesting thing that happened to this chair in its years. So this is your typical cabriole leg. It has a little bit of a volute here kind of thing. Now this and this are attached to the leg. So this piece right here, the leg ends right there. And then this is added to give it a continuing piece that goes like that into the little volute. And the same thing over here. This piece right here is added to the leg where it's flat along here and flat along here. And then these two pieces are added to give it this fuller looking shape. If you look at any piece that has cabriole legs, you're going to see this. One of these needed a repair on the other side of the chair, and it was done kind of interesting. This is what I mean. So this piece here, which was kind of added on or modified or whatever, or nailed in place, maybe some glue, the base of this goes at this angle. The whole thing goes at this angle. It should go straight across the piece. I'll do a picture of what it should look like, not like this. And then, so they could get this fit here. I don't know, kind of weird. I'm not going to fix that because it's too much like work. And all this stuff was epoxied in place, so it's really hard to break the epoxy without damaging the parts. So that goes that way. It should go this way. And that was one of the repairs. This is really what I mean. See how this is flush down here and this is parallel to here? And that other one I showed you is not. So this will be put in place. This was glued, not nailed or screwed. It's glued in place. And then shaped to match the curve of the cabriole leg over here. So interesting repair. The very first thing I need to do is build the jig for the router to run the dado in here. Mortise? maybe a mortise and tenon. I don't know. Router, plate, whatever. Mortise and tenon joint with the plate with the piece of maple that's going to go in here to stabilize all that. After some thought and mashing of teeth and whatever on how to jig this up for the router. Initially, it was going to be this little thing, and I'd build on this. That wasn't going to work out. And well, how am I going to do it? Well, then I got a CNC machine over there. What the hell's wrong with you, idiot? Idiot has a CNC machine. 1 minute in AutoCAD, 2 minutes in VCarve, my jig. This is exactly the slot I need for my guide bush. Now I've marked, as you can see, I've marked with a piece of tape on here where I want this to sit. The next thing to do is to clamp this up, use some CA glue to put some shoulders on it that go around the leg here and here, so I can then screw it in place so I can clamp it here so it won't move, and the router will stay stable, which means I have to change the orientation of the chair. So first step is to these markings are for exactly where this slot is and where I want it to go. So let's see, I want to get there. I can tap this into place a little bit more as I need to. Okay, a little bit more that way. Okay, now that's lined up on those marks you saw I did with a Sharpie. Oops, knocked it out of the way. Keep it tight. Come all the way to the end with this one. Okay, so now that's in place where I want it to sit when I start doing the router work. I have my pieces already cut out, and I'm going to get the CA glue, glue them in place, and then do the screw thing. There's one, the long one, which covers this whole side here. I'll do pictures. So that was in place, and now I put the little one is going to go. Oops, got to move the clamp a little bit. Make sure it's still where I want it. The little one's going to go right here. So again, I'm using the really thin CA glue so I can get it'll get the good coverage. Okay, that's in place. And now we do the other one, which goes here. Make sure it's going to fit. Everything's out of the way. Yep. Okay, I'm going to let that cure a bit, and then I'm going to fasten them from the top with screws so that they're in place and not going to move. Screwed in place. You see the gap here is for around this back brace, back stretcher here. So that holds it in place. The screws will prevent it from coming apart, and this slips on here right where I want it, nice and tight. And now, to prevent this from shifting and to keep it clamped in place, I take a regular clamp, come around from the back here, clamp these pieces of wood so they're grabbing a hold of the chair, like this. So that's fixed. That's not going to move. I can now go ahead and do my router runs to cut the slot in here and then manufacture the spline that's going to go in there. So that's for the next video, because busy. But see how that nice and snug it fits down there? Jigs are your friend. Sometimes you keep jigs forever, and sometimes you just take them apart when you're done because it's a one-time deal. So with that, I have to set this thing up in a way that I can get the router to run on it, and the chair will not move. You probably can see why I want that to be. So until next time, when we finally cut the slot and make the spline and do the repair, make great things out of wood.